Hi everyone, okay, continuing my DVD collection series. This is video number 18 now. There is a playlist on my channel, follow along that way if you want to. Please like, subscribe. Here we go. First up, and you might want to imagine the theme song for this one, but yeah, he's a cool cat who won't cop out when there's danger all about. Richard Roundtree in Shaft. Great movie this. And Shaft's big score. Good action finale in this one. Now I do have Shaft in Africa, but I have that on Blu-ray, and that's a film that's directed by John Gilliman. I've done a video before on my channel about the films of John Gilliman. Please do check that one out. But yeah, Shaft's big score, good movie. Changing direction completely, we've got the Shaggy Dog and the Shaggy DA. Sean Connery, Brigitte Bardot in Shallow. Director Danny Boyle's first movie, Shallow Grave, with Ewan McGregor. I did like this one. This is Blake Lively in The Shallows. Absolutely one of my all-time favourite movies. This is Shane. It pains me nowadays when I hear people moaning about this movie. But yeah, I know it's not a favourite for a lot of Western lovers nowadays, but it certainly is one of my favourites. Love it. From director Zhang Yimou, this is Shanghai Triad. And from Stephen Chow, Shaolin Soccer. Burt Reynolds directs as well as stars in Sharky's Machine with Rachel Ward. And Hope is a Good Thing, Perhaps the Best of Things, The Shawshank Redemption. Mae West with her classic Why Don't You Come Up and See Me Sometime line in She Done Him Wrong with Cary Grant. And the classic She Wore a Yellow Ribbon, directed by John Ford, starring John Wayne. Virginia Mayo and Gene Nelson in She's Back on Broadway. And written and directed by Edward Burns and starring Jennifer Aniston and Cameron Diaz, She's the One. The great Pam Grier in Shiva Baby, directed by William Girdler, who also directed Grizzly. Guy Ritchie's Sherlock Holmes with Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law. Excellent movie this about the pianist David Helfgott. This is Geoffrey Rush in Shine, directed by Scott Hicks. World War II espionage thriller Shining Through with Michael Douglas and Melanie Griffith. And directed by Michael Welf and Basil Dearden. This is Richard Attenborough in The Ship That Died of Shame. Kevin Spacey and Julianne Moore in The Shipping News, directed by Lasse Hallström and from the novel by E. Annie Proulx. And picked this one up just recently. This is The Shirley, starring the great Brian Brown. A nice Australian family drama, this one. 2-pack edition. Pauline Collins on the F-Plan diet in Shirley Valentine with Tom Conti. And starring Tomoeburo Wakayama from the Lone Wolf and Cub movies. This is Shogun Assassin. Written by and starring Steve Martin, Shop Girl. And Jeff Goldblum and Mimi Rogers in Shooting Elizabeth. The final film for John Wayne. This is The Shootist, directed by Don Siegel. And quite an interesting one this. This is Alan Bates and John Hurt in The Shout, directed by Jerzy Skolimowski, whose recent EO I really love. But yeah, this is an interesting one from the 70s. Paul Verhoeven's classic For All the Wrong Reasons, Showgirls. And Robert De Niro, Eddie Murphy in Showtime. Leonardo DiCaprio and Mark Ruffalo in Shutter Island, directed by Martin Scorsese. And a great tense thriller this from Denis Villeneuve, Emily Blunt, Benicio del Toro and Josh Brolin, Sicario. And the good but not as good sequel, Sicario, Day of the Soldado. Classic combination of Alain Delon, Jean Gabin and Lino Ventura in The Sicilian Clan. And a great performance from Gary Oldman as Sid Vicious in Sid and Nancy. Sales of Merlot dropped after this one. This is Paul Giamatti and Thomas Hayden Church in Alexander Payne's Sideways. M. Night Shyamalan's Signs with Mel Gibson. William Hurt and Jennifer Tilly in Silent Witness. Andrew Garfield and Adam Driver in Martin Scorsese's Silence. And directed by Daryl Duke, this is Elliot Gould and Christopher Plummer in The Silent Partner. I really hate this DVD cover, which makes it look like something like Ocean's 11. So yeah, it really doesn't portray the movie at all well. But yeah, great movie. Jennifer Lawrence and Brad Cooper in Silver Linings Playbook. And directed by Arthur Hiller, this is a classic one with Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor, Silver Streak. When the 80s were trying to do a Western comeback, this is Silverado, which really launched Kevin Costner's career. This edition opens up and comes with a pack of playing cards. Nick Nolte, Jeff Bridges and Sharon Stone in Simpatico. And nice edition this of Sin City, which opens out to have the movies and this great graphic novel from Frank Miller. Former Incredible Hulk Lou Ferrigno in Sinbad of the Seven Seas. And definitely one of the most enjoyable musicals ever made, Singing in the Rain. Robert Downey Jr. in The Singing Detective from the Dennis Potter novel, which was most famously done on TV starring Michael Gambon. This one is directed by Keith Gordon. A great one this, a twisty thriller directed by Sam Raimi with Billy Bob Thornton, Bill Paxton and Bridget Fonda, A Simple Plan. Great Seattle grunge soundtrack on this one, Singles, directed by Cameron Crowe with Matt Dillon. And from director Scott Derrickson, this is Sinister with Ethan Hawke. Directed by John Dugan and starring Hugh Grant and Elle Macpherson, this is Sirens. Arnie in The Sixth Day, directed by Roger Spottiswoode. And I always found Anthony Michael Hall really funny in this one. This is 16 Candles with Molly Ringwald. Kate Hudson in The Skeleton Key. And this is a terrific Mexican movie, so perhaps if any of you have those Mexico Macabre sets from Indicator, this is along similar lines, but yeah, great stuff, The Skeleton of Mrs. Morales. Quirky British movie this, about getting rid of skeletons out of your closet. This is Skeletons. Great documentary this is the director Sidney Pollack in a friendship with Frank Gehry, the architect who designed buildings such as the Guggenheim Museum in Bilbao in Spain and Walt Disney's Concert Hall in LA. But yeah, really good stuff. Visually interesting, but not a great movie. This is Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow with Jude Law and Angelina Jolie. And directed by John Gilliman. Yes, I've talked about him before. This is Skyjacked with Charlton Heston, one of the early disaster movies from the 70s, worth checking out. Directed by Woody Allen, Sleeper. And an all-star cast in this thriller from Barry Levinson, Sleepers. And from director Dario Argento, and with Max von Sydow in the cast, this is Sleepless. And then I have not one, but two copies here of Sleuth, starring Laurence Olivier and Michael Caine. Written by, directed by, and starring Billy Bob Thornton. Really excellent movie this, Sling Blade. And Sharon Stone, William Baldwin in the trashy Sliver. A good slow burn western this one, Slow West, with Michael Fassbender and Cody Smith-McPhee, who was also in The Power of the Dog. Similarly, this is also filmed in New Zealand. Directed by Hal Ashby, this is The Slugger's Wife. And Dev Patel and Frida Pinto in Danny Boyle's Slumdog Millionaire. Natasha Lyonne in Slums of Beverly Hills. And a fantastic set of movies this. You can get a more lavish edition through Criterion Collection. But yeah, this is Steve McQueen's 5-film series, Small Axe. Just great stuff. John Hawkes, Octavia Spencer and the late Robert Forster in Small Town Crime. And directed by Bill August from the novel by Peter Hoag. This is Miss Miller's Sense of Snow with Julia Ormond and Gabriel Byrne. Smokey and the Bandit with, can you believe, 6 sequels, none of which I have yet watched. And from director Shinya Tsukamoto, this is A Snake of June. This same director did Tetsuo, the Iron Man, and Bullet Ballet. From director Stephen Frears, this is The Snapper, another adaptation of a Roddy Doyle novel, so a kind of a companion piece, if you like, to The Commitments and The Van. And Guy Ritchie's Snatch. Kate Beckinsale and Sam Rockwell in Snow Angels, directed by David Gordon Green. And this is The Snow Walker, starring Barry Pepper. This one's directed by Charles Martin Smith, and it's adapted from a novel by Farley Mowat. Charles Martin Smith got to know Farley Mowat during the making of Never Cry Wolf, really good movie. So yeah, these two movies kind of make good companion pieces. Classic animation from Raymond Briggs, The Snowman, and also Father Christmas. This one got ripped apart when it came out. Michael Fassbender in The Snowman, directed by Thomas Alfredson. Charlize Theron, Kristen Stewart and Chris Hemsworth in Snow White and the Huntsman. And great movie this from David Fincher, The Social Network. Very trashy, but quite a bit of fun with Kurt Russell here, not saying much, in Soldier, directed by Paul Anderson. And from Paul Verhoeven before he came to Hollywood, this is Rutger Hauer in Soldier of Orange. Great 80s bit of John Hughes, Leah Thompson, Eric Stoltz and the beautiful Mary Stuart Masterson in Some Kind of Wonderful. And the Billy Wilder classic, Some Like It Hot. From director Olivier Assayas, this is Something in the Air. A terrific Disney movie, this one, directed by Jack Clayton. This is Something Wicked This Way Comes, with a really good performance from Jonathan Pryce, some great aging practical effects, and an excellent supporting role for Pam Grier. Really good film. Ridley Scott's Someone to Watch Over Me. You can get this via Indicator on a nice Blu-ray as well. And this is a sort of pop art edition of Somewhere in Time with Christopher Reeve and Jane Seymour. A very nice little romantic drama this, with a little bit of time travel involved. Great movie this, Son of Saul, directed by Laszlo Nemes, and with a really superb performance from Geza Rohrig. This is an Auschwitz drama. The camera style in this is really quite unique, I think. It's focusing just on Geza Rohrig's face for most of the movie, and you're only getting to see what is happening in the background in Auschwitz in a sort of blurred style. So it's quite a unique style, but really, really effective. Great movie. Danny Kaye and Virginia Mayo in A Song is Born. A classic western directed by Henry Hathaway, John Wayne and Dean Martin, the sons of Katie Elder. William Friedkin's excellent reworking of Clouseau's The Wages of Fear. This is Sorcerer with Roy Scheider and that really tense bridge crossing scene. Nicolas Cage in The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Delroy Lindo and McKelty Williamson in Soul of the Game. And yes, sorry Stuart if you're watching, but I love this. This is Julie Andrews in the classic The Sound of Music. A late career, low budget movie from Peter Hyams' Sound of Thunder. And from Moon director Duncan Jones, this is Jake Gyllenhaal in Source Code. Executive produced by Oliver Stone, this is Glenn Plummer in South Central. And a music journey through LA in this one, Southlander, featuring the likes of Beth Orton and Beck. You're Never Too Old to Go to Space in Space Cowboys, directed by Clint Eastwood. And Mel Brooks' Spaceballs. Peter Strauss, Molly Ringwald and Michael Ironside as Overdog in Space Hunter. This was also known as Space Hunter Adventures in the Forbidden Zone in 3D. This was the first 3D film I saw at the cinema. Great fun. Okay, I will leave it there. Thanks very much for watching this. Let me know your comments. If you are following along this series, I thank you very much for doing so. Like I say, follow along at your own time on the playlist. But yeah, leave me your comments and I hope to see you again. All the best. Bye.